chapter in that book, The Owl Afraid of the Dark. Have you read that book? Right, the owl in there is called Plop. But the real reason it got its name is because the owls, we hand rear the owls from babies, and they're like other babies. They eat a lot of food, they sleep a lot, they make a lot of noise, but above all else, they do loads of food. So that's where she got her name. Now we're going to see if she'll fly. I want you to be really quiet, because she's quite nervous. But really listen to this owl when it flies above your head, if it flies above your head. Keep very, very still, because she's quite nervous, and this is her first day back to school. In the wild, when she flies around looking for food, she wouldn't be screeching. So I want you to try to ignore the noise coming from her beak and listen to the noise from her wings. It's very, very special. Barn owls are some of the most silent owls in the world. Now if you ignored the noise, what noise did her wings make? Very soft noise. Almost no noise at all. Because if you were listening to your prey, you'd be very well behaved. If you're listening to your prey, and it's a tiny mouse resting and squeaking, and your wings are going flap, 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 right next to your ears, it's going to make it really difficult to hear, isn't it? So that's one reason they need to be silent, because if they've got these brilliant ears, and then they've got really noisy wings, the ears are pretty pointless. But what's another reason, the main reason that they've got silent flight?
Because if they sneak up on the prey behind, they won't have time to go back and attack.
Right, yeah.
So when it attacks its prey, it doesn't know if it's attacking or not.
That's right, so you two said the same sort of thing. They've got silent wings because they're sneaking up on their prey. They're not like hawks and falcons. They don't chase after their prey and outfly their prey because they're so fast, because owls are very slow flyers compared to most birds. They're ambush predators and they're assassins. They sneak up on things. So the little mouse, or vole, or whatever it may be, you've all seen Mickey Mouse. Really great ears, this big, hasn't it? What are they for? Why has he got ears that big? Why have mice got ears that big? So they can hear very, very well, because they want to know if something's sneaking up on them. So the owls counter-attack that, and he's really, really quiet. This owl will hunt like a white-faced owl. He will sit in trees or on posts, waiting for small mice or voles to walk along below. But brown owls, look how long his wings are. No, not up there. Look how long his wings are. He's got a big wingspan, and he doesn't weigh very much. He weighs about 450 grams. That means he can fly very, very slowly and softly, because he's very light. And they hunt by flying about this high, a nice water meadow or a nice old grassy field, and they'll quarter the field. That means they'll search it methodically, up and down, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. If you see one hunting, it will be looking down. Is it looking down, or is the barn owl listening down? What's it doing when it's pointing its head down? Is it looking for voles in the grass, or is it listening for voles?
Is it listening?
It's listening. It can't see the voles, because sometimes barn owls hunt during the day. If they've got lots of youngsters to feed, 4 or 5 babies in a nest, mum and dad have got to work all day or all night, and sometimes there's not enough hours in a summer's night to get enough food for their babies. So they come out in the day as well. So they can see clearly, but they can't see the voles because the grass and the weeds are at least this long. The little vole, a vole is an animal like a small mouse. And in the countryside, in weedy fields, there's thousands of them. And they feed owls, foxes, weasels, buzzards. They're really, really important. The owl can't see them, so it has to be listening for them because it catches them really accurately. Which brings me to her lovely face. Why has it got this lovely round, even in a bar, a heart-shaped face? Why have owls got these lovely round faces? Who haven't had? Go on, yes, I'll see you hungry.
Is it like open up the sound?
Go on, try it out. I've got my own way. To pick up sound. Yeah. It's part of their amazing hearing. Have you all got satellite television at home? Do you all know what a satellite dish is? That catches, I'm going to say television waves, but I'll say it's radio waves. That catches a signal for your telly. An owl's face catches sounds. It works like this flappy thing on the side of your head. It catches sound and funnels it into their ears. It's really big. It'd be like us having ears the size of an elephant's. If you go like that when you're in the countryside with 2 hands and listen to a bird, sounds louder because your hand makes your ears bigger and it funnels more sound in. Owl's face does that. It funnels the sound to their ears. One of their ears is here, or let's see, one of her ears is there, just below her eye. The ear on the other side is above her eye. So if she had ears like ours, she'd look really weird, because one ear would be growing out the top of her head, and one ear would be down by her cheek. One of the ears is a bit more further forward than the other one. So the ears are asymmetrical, they're not even. Does anybody know why that might be?
Because one ear listens to above, one ear listens to under.
It's sort of along the right line, but it's a bit more complicated.
So that there's two parts and then it can like listen to each side.
That's sort of what this chapter I think. One more guess.
So the left ear listens to what's something below,
Yeah,
and
that's the
the right
same.
ear listens to something what's above them.
You're all on a similar line, and you're sort of a little bit right, but the real reason is it can't see its prey. It has to home into something that small just by sound. The ears are in different places, so the sound that little squeaking mouse is making gets to one ear before it gets to the other ear. By a tiny millionth of a second, a tiny amount, the sound reaches one ear before the other. And its brain can work that out, and it means it can pinpoint the sound exactly where it's coming from. Really important, because it has to catch a tiny thing very accurately. Stop looking at there. Now what she wants to do, she's looking at there, is get a bit higher, and she'll feel safer, because then she won't be so near to you. You're not going up there. And we're quite lucky here, because there isn't anything to land on, unlike some schools. She's noisy. One of the birds, all my owls are noisy. One of the birds, my falcons and hawks, they don't talk to me like the owls. Does anybody know why? There's a really simple reason that all my owls are noisy, they all talk to me. No, they don't do that, because the other ones aren't either. That's a very good answer, but no. All my hawks and my falcons, they're bred in captivity like the owls. The parents rear them up to an age that the parents want to kick them out and make them fend for themselves. And they live in an age, and that's when I take them and start training them. So my Harris hawk, he knows he's a Harris hawk because he was raised by his mum and dad who were Harris hawks. The barn owls and all our other owls that we use for flying displays, we train them, or we hand rear them, from about 10 days to 2 weeks old. So little tiny cute fluffy chicks. We start hand rearing them then, and they imprint on us, which means they think we're their parents. So this owl thinks you guys are all owls, or it thinks it's a person, because it thinks it's the same as us, because it thinks I'm its dad.
Do you know when they're about to land, why do they flap their wings and not just like keep them still?
How do you mean? When they're about to land at the last minute?
When you landed on
No.
the
There wasn't anywhere to land, was there?
when he just landed,
Yeah, that's its brakes. Because if it didn't, if it just kept flying and tried to get it, grab on my glove, then it would go overhead first and sort of crash land. So it's just putting the brakes on and just slowing itself down. So watch, like that. Yeah, that little sort of thing, yeah. That is just its brakes. So they're noisy because she thinks I'm an owl, or she thinks she's a person. So she talks to me like she'd talk to other owls, or she'd talk to her mum and dad, because she thinks I am a dad. My other birds don't talk to me. They know that I'm not her dad. They know that they're Harris hawks or peregrine falcons or whatever. So owls are very noisy. Have you all seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Who thinks it's a good way of keeping an owl in a parrot cage?
Oh yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Harry Potter's not been very good for owls because lots of people went out and bought pet owls because you don't need any licenses to have an owl. And lots of people thought, well, we've got an old parrot cage in the garage. Harry Potter keeps his owl in a parrot cage. That would be great. It's really, really not good for the owl. They damage all their feathers. They need to be in a big aviary or to come out and fly regularly. Putting them in cages means they hang on the cage and they damage all their feathers. Has anybody got any barn owl questions before we go any further? Something different.
What hunts
What hunts barn owls? Good one. Barn owls live on every continent in the world except Antarctica. So they live all over the world. So in different countries, they're going to have different predators, but they'll all be similar. In Britain, if they catch their food, let's let's say they catch a good sized food, half-sized rat, they can't carry it very well, so they're going to eat it on the ground where they've caught it. What might attack them at night on the ground? Fox or a raccoon. In other countries, yes, but not in Britain.
A dog.
A dog, yeah, if the dog's escaped, but...
Badgers?
Yeah, badgers probably would.
Wild dog?
Right, I'm going to give it a cats. Cats are a big problem. But yeah, wild dogs. Things like foxes, coyotes, wild dogs in different parts of the world. Here we'd have foxes, and a big problem, lots and lots of cats. In daytime, at night time, look at that lovely camouflage. She's sitting next to an old stone farmer's building. Lovely camouflage. She's keeping quiet and still. Nothing can see her. She's got lots of babies to feed. She has to go out hunting in the daytime. And she flies slowly. What else might catch her? Because she's not very quick.
One of the falcons?
Yeah, falcons maybe, but more likely something like a buzzard or especially a goshawk, because a goshawk is a very fast hunter and it can easily catch a barn owl. And the worst thing for owls, if they come out in the daytime, the worst thing is crows. Crows don't want to eat the barn owl, but they don't like barn owls or other owls around because the owls might eat their young at night. And crows gang up in big gangs. Funnily enough, a group of crows is called a murder of crows. And they gang up in big gangs and they attack the owl and they'll drive it to the ground and they'll kill it. And crows are one of the worst enemies, even though they don't want to eat her.
Does she have them?
Does she have babies? This one doesn't have babies, this particular one. And she's only 3 years old herself, 2.5 years old herself. But at 10 weeks old, she grew from a little tiny fluffy chip to looking just like that in 10 weeks. So a lot of food has to go down there. Now, so I'm going to pass some bits around. Does anybody know what that is? No, an owl pellet. I'm going to pass this around. The horrible thing is an owl pellet, and all the bones, if you look closely when it comes round, are from another owl pellet that we dissected, and we could find the skulls of the animals that this owl had been eating. Not this owl, a wild barn owl. And you can see their skulls in there from field voles and from shrews. They'll eat mice, they'll eat rats, but their favourite food is field voles. So we'll pass this around here. Have a look. We'll just have a look and pass it along.